Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Alexander Stablovsky. I'm filling in for Jeffrey Davis, who's the actual host of Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm the executive producer here. Just so you guys know, you guys can find us on our social platforms: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Google+. Today, sitting across from me is Nimit Sawnhey from Voatz. How you doing, Nimit?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Likewise. Thank you for having me here.
Well, I reached out to you. We reached out on LinkedIn. We got connected. Tell me about Voatz. What is Voatz all about? What do you guys do?
So Voatz is a high-security mobile election voting platform. The idea is that through some smart technologies involving security and real-time ID verification, we found a way for you to vote safely in any kind of election using your smartphone. So very simply makes the voting process easier and in many cases a lot safer than the current process.
That's simply put, and there's a lot of difficulties going on with the voting process nowadays, and I'm sure you've seen it on the news. How are you not involved, and how do you make your process safe?
So internet voting has been around for almost 15 years, in some cases longer than that. But as you know, it's never gained mainstream acceptance because there's always been the concern about security. And for valid reasons, because it's really hard to secure people's computers. I mean, we really don't know what's running on there, what OS is, whether they've got viruses or Trojans on there. So we haven't approached that part. What we are claiming is we found a way to make it super safe on a smartphone. And not every smartphone, a certain kind of smartphone, for example, iPhone 5S or newer, the newer Samsung Galaxy S7 phones. So the premise is we create a tamper-proof environment on the phone and then use a real-time ID verification mechanism to verify your identity, which means you have to provide some form of ID, take a picture of yourself, all within the application. And then we quickly do a check, make sure you're actually eligible to vote. And then we store a secure token on your phone and basically erase all your ID information from our databases. So the idea is your phone becomes your identity, and that's why we need it to be tamper-proof. And then when you actually vote, your vote is anonymous. Even we don't know who you voted for. The government doesn't know who you voted for, which is how it's supposed to be. All the government or the organizer gets to see is that you were eligible and that you actually voted. So through this sort of mix of approaches, and then one unique thing we've also added is you may be familiar with the new technologies called blockchain, which is the underlying layer behind the Bitcoin. So we leverage that as well. It's an optional feature if you as the organizer or the government are comfortable using that. We enable that as well. And that offers additional security and sort of irrefutability in terms of where the votes are recorded. So nobody can tamper with your vote, not us, not the government, not a third-party hacker. So it adds that extra element of security and trust, which is not available with a traditional database. So we feel that when you put all this together, it's a very compelling argument. It answers most of the concerns which have prevented internet voting from being accepted in the past. And since we do everything on our phones anyway now, we do banking, we buy everything on the phone. I mean, this is almost like the last remaining frontier, and hopefully very soon everybody would be able to vote on the phone as well.